Our battle is clearly a spiritual battle. And I was thinking of this over the weekend when I was traveling. And what I realized, I interviewed a young woman on the, a lady, I don't know how young she is, but a lady on the Florida State, and it aired this past Friday, yesterday, or the day before. And when I introduced her, she said at some point in the interview, she said that she was a black female, and I may not be quoting it exactly how she said it, it's somewhere in there. She said that she was a black female lesbian LGBTQ person. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at her, and when she said it, I almost felt sad for her. Because everyone who identify with identities or identify with the nature, the spirit of the devil and don't know it. And every human being have some form of title that they give to themselves. I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a success, I'm a failure, I'm afraid, I'm weak, I'm strong, I'm LGBTQ, I'm an alcoholic, I'm a drug addict, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a preacher, I'm a pope, and the pope is sick. I'm angry. Every human being have these identities. And it doesn't matter how miserable they are with the identities. I'm shy, I'm not good enough, or I am good enough, I'm black, I'm white, I'm Chinese, oh, I'm Asian, I'm this, I'm that, right? Every human being has an identity, and those identities are totally evil and false. And I noticed that in those identities, they are miserable. The people are miserable. Even those who say, I'm the president, I'm the vice president, I'm the secretary of state, I'm this and I'm that. They're still miserable people. I have 3 or 4 degrees. They're still miserable because they are identified with evil and calling it good. And most people will not pause to see that these identities that they have are evil. And it's not them, and it's not working. It's amazing how that is. Every human being has some form of false identity. And then they go to the doctor, then they go to the psychiatrist or counselor or wherever, and they ask, doctor, what's wrong with me? I'm lonely, I'm afraid, I'm this. And the doctor said, well, you need some pills. Let me give you some pills to help you deal with life. And so they take those pills, and then they get high, or they go into a darker cloud like a zombie, and they're still miserable and don't know it. I literally know people who was poor financially, and they said, I'm poor, I gotta go out and make some money. And they've gone out and made buku money, a whole lot of money, but yet they're miserable. And so when I looked at the young lady, that woman, I forgot her first name, what was her first name? Denayja. I felt for her in that I realized she was blind and could not see that she was none of those things at all. And the sad thing about it, the interesting thing about it, she wrote a book on how to help with all that stuff, how to overcome loneliness or whatever she did, whatever it was. But yet she's not being helped by it at all. She is not being helped. And I noticed that identities are fighting over whose identity is the best and whose identity is right. Right now you have what do you call the men in the dresses?
Transgender? Drag.
What, transgenders? Yeah. Drag queen too, yeah.
It rhymes with tags.
Yeah. They have the drag queen, the transgender, better known as drag queens, whether it's a man or woman, they're fighting one another too. Because all of them want to be the star, they want to be better. And so the people in the drags are now fighting against the lesbians and the homosexuals before they became LGBT. So they're fighting with one another. The homosexuals are mad that the men in the dresses are making them look bad or something. And then the lesbians are upset because the men in the dresses are taking their stuff away from them, the attention. And it's a mess. Every identity think that is better than the other. And they fight against one another, never pulling away to question. And that's interesting that people won't question themselves. They'll look at everybody else, but they will not even ask, what's wrong with me? Why am I like this? Why do I have envy in my heart? Why do I have anger? Why do I want to hurt myself? Why would I hurt myself? They don't even question it, so it never get better. And I thank God that I've always been a person that questioned myself. Even as a kid, I would question it. Like, whatever the issue may be, or I even question older people. They didn't like it, but I would do it. But most people don't question themselves because they're constantly looking out there at something else or someone else while they're suffering. You gotta let the identities go. Those are demons. Those are evil spirits. And our battle is a spiritual battle, really. And it's happening inside of you. It's not happening outside of you. It's happening inside of you. And it's happening outside of you, but inside of others. They're having the same identical battle. And everybody's doing it. Family members, brothers and sisters, and husbands and wives, and children against parents, and employees and bosses. It's happening everywhere. And I was thinking, wow, hell is like amazing today. Because hell is being pushed as good. Anyone that's pushed anger as good is your enemy, is an evil person. Anger is evil, folks, and it gives you all sorts of identities, spirits. And that's why these little titles you put on them, like I'm a LGBTQ thing. All you're doing is covering up the devil rather than saying, my heart is wicked, my heart is evil. When you can see it in a spiritual way, then you will see what the problem is and you can overcome it. But if you cover up the devil, not only are you cover him up with words, but you're covering him up by hiding and denying what you see. You don't want to see it. Most people think it's better to live in that hell than to overcome it. And that's why they will fight you if you even dare to suggest that they can overcome it, that it's not them. You are not these identities. You're not an alcoholic. You're not a drug addict. You're not a homeless person. You're none of those things. Your heart is wicked and the devil is ruling. That's what's going on, and you gotta, if you want to be free, you gotta stop identifying with these things. Because you're really worshiping and supporting the devil. The real you have never gotten angry, you've never been afraid, you've never ever done anything wrong, you've never been guilty, you're not a saint or a sinner, you're none of the things that you've been told. The real you is neither black nor white. And it's crazy that in my country today, you have black and white people going at it. You have religious people fighting over their religion. They're fighting over religion. And that's what happens when you take on any other form of identity, you protect it. Even though it makes you miserable, it doesn't make you happy, you still fight for it. For example, I just discovered that, if it's true, it looks like true, I don't know, that Christianity has been on attack for a long time now. But the one thing I didn't know the Jews fought with the Christians over in Israel. That was in Israel, right, Sean? Over in Israel, the Jews, not all, but most, are fighting with the Christians. They are burning down churches, they're attacking and throwing bottles and all kinds of things because the Christians the Jews over there hate the Christians, and the Christians hate somebody, and somebody hate, because they have taken on another false identity, and it's called religion. The Allahu Abba people fight with the Jews because the Allahu Abba people believe that Israel religion is less than their religion. And no one paused to say, okay, if I'm convinced that my religion is best, it's the right way, why would I fight over it? Just because someone else said, no, that's not true. Why would I fight over it? And the only way I would fight over it, I'm not sure that it's true. I believe, without a doubt, that Christianity is the #1 religion. It's the best because it requires that we do exactly what I'm telling you. You got to look at yourself. You must be born again of the heart. Salvation is of the heart, not of the vices. That's another lie. Now the vices people fight with the people say salvation is of the heart. No, salvation is of the vices. What the? The vices belong to your daddy, the devil. They come, that's his nature. That is the abnormal nature that you've been identified with. All the things are just named and then some.